The dark following. Gosh, there's so much to unpack about this film. And one of the main themes that I feel like was in it was about the energy of the universe. And I can relate to that. And I think the audience can also relate to that in real life as far as how do we harness the energy and how do we use it for good? And we can also use it for bad. That's one of the themes I took from it. And of course, the plot itself was so interesting. I really wanted to know more and did not want this movie to end. I can't wait for the sequel. And of course, we have the love story. The actors, such a strong cast, especially the three leads. Like, in my opinion, the three leads were Adrian and, of course, Jamie and Veronica. I don't usually remember names that easily, so the fact that I remembered all of their names says a lot. This film really did stick with me, and is going to stick with me, and I really want the sequel to come out sooner than later. If it hasn't been filmed yet, please just know, unless it was my own device that I was playing this on, the I guess it was like the dark energy character. I'm not really sure the name of the character, but the one that Adrian was following and kind of struggling with, kind of two sides, like the dark side and the I guess the light side. But that character, I couldn't understand some of what the words were, and it was driving me nuts because I really wanted to know. I had to really focus to hear. I love how the voice sounded, but it was such a heavy whisper, and it wasn't just some of the words weren't clear, and it just drove me nuts. But it could have been my device, so take it for what it's worth. Take it with a grain of salt. I absolutely just loved this film. In the beginning, I thought this was going to be a fan film, but it is so strong of a concept all on its own. This reminds me of a little bit of Good Will Hunting because, I did a little research on IMDb and saw that the main, Adrian, the actor who played Adrian and the actor who played Jamie did a lot of stuff on this film. Specifically the guy who played Adrian. I just thought, so much talent here and so well done with having so much to do, with just a few, the leads having a lot to do on it. But I know there was other people involved too. Everybody did an amazing job coming together. The team was brilliant and the cast was so, some of the moments that were taken were beautiful and the acting was so good. The reactions, I like that you guys took moments to have those reactions because you didn't just rush through those moments, and the actors were strong enough to have those emotions be subtle but yet expressed. So it was all so well done, and just the color scheme, the color palette, the set design, the music, the sound design, all of it was just so good. At one point, I noticed the lighting with the flashbacks were very dreamlike, so I like that a lot because obviously he was kind of dreaming about it. So that really set the tone very, very well. I also wondered why the mom and the sister had an accent and he didn't, and I noticed other characters had an accent too. So I would like to know more about that. And just everything was wonderful. I didn't have anything that took me out of it that wasn't believable. To me, everything was very believable. I love the flashbacks were very well placed in throughout, I thought, and was perfectly placed. I thought it was very good use of the flashbacks and what was motivating him as well. Great sound. And the bar scene in particular, I really loved. It just really stood out to me. And when she said that line, "I'm sorry, that's not available anymore," really great writing as well. So kudos to everybody who did this. You guys are going to do great. And this series is going to do great. I know you're going to have a sequel. If you don't, I'm going to hunt you down and make you do it. So great job. And I know you're gonna, because of the little bit at the end that I loved having there with, the sort of tidbit of the sequel is coming. So great job, you guys.
The Dark Following. Cinematography on this and what the filmmakers did with the CG, the AI, those special effects, the futuristic spaceship, the planet, that was so brilliant and it was so well done. I loved the way that they blended that and how it kind of seamlessly was with a lot of the live action. I think that the lead actor, he did such a good job. I mean, such a good job. So many of the actors did so well. And I think that what they used, how they did their camera angles, was really, really smart. The story was great. It was very intriguing. It kept your interest. You wanted to know what was going on. And one of the things that I liked so much about this film is that it was part sci-fi, part action adventure, and part love story. I thought that they ticked all the boxes with that. One of the things that I would have loved to have seen was a little bit more with the special effects makeup. Like after he had gotten hit, to have a little bit more blood on his lip and stuff like that. And the other thing that threw me at first was him with his family, his mom, his sister. He was the only one that didn't have a British Australian accent that was there, and it wasn't really explained right then and there. So it threw me and it made me wonder if he was adopted, or because you're invested, you want to know. But yeah, I think that all of the leads were absolutely fantastic, and you guys did a great job with this.
In The Dark Following, everyone is questioning where is this crystal so that they can take its power and possibly not use it for goodwill intentions. Yet we find ourselves with our leading man who has shown us right from the beginning that he can take a punch, as we find him restrained against his will. In a series of questioning, we find that there is some beef between him and his fellow friend Adrian, and he even says it himself. If he finds him, he'll take him out himself. And it leads us to this series of questions of, as we get this flashback of, what happens really in his military service. And, we get to see a glimpse of who he was before his service. And this nice foil between what has changed him. You used to see him be loving and with his family and being able to take risks and be with the love of his life. And this reality that we find him in, he is alone and he is in solitude and he is fighting for this greater purpose to essentially save the world, have this sense of savior complex. But what has the world really done for him is the question that I find myself having as I watch this film. And it's something that his love interest even, in a sense, brings up to him, as they have this conversation of having this sense of, falling in love, having this fallout, reconnecting, and having this love still be as pure as it was once before. She gives him a reality check almost, as like, what are we doing this all for? Are we doing this all just to be alone? Or are you done being alone in this world? Some people go their whole lives looking for what these characters potentially have with each other. And he's willing to sacrifice himself in order to save her, as this attack happens in the area that's happening and surrounding him. He's literally having this weight of the world literally pressuring his shoulders, and he's carrying it all just to protect the one that he loves. And he says it, why did you come back after I told you not to come back? And she did it for love, and she was willing to take the risk to be there by his side, to support him and be there for him and protect him in ways that he might have not have seen that he needed to be leaned on, to have protection, to be able to have someone to lean on, to stop being alone, and have this sense of, at the end of the day, this film is about love and loyalty. And where does your loyalty go? Does it go to where you're told that you need to follow and be in line and do your military service and be proud of your country and what you do and try to have this do-good, picturesque lifestyle? Or do you lean in to your family, your loved ones, your community, and see the brightness within that, and just see that you don't have to be alone in this world, and that you can actually create something beautiful if you're just willing to lean into it?